the next interview is James Emanuel. You have a opening before the interview that kind of takes on some of the best quotes of the interview. This was a great interview. It was maybe his last hurrah of any good writing that he did, and probably some of the best writing that he did of the last 20 or so years of his life.
Yeah.
But it's excellent. It shows some of the poems, you get into the mechanics of it. It also shows that James, well, it may have been more intuitive than it was great technical skill. He did get his poems. He could compare with others. He does have, like Charles Johnson, some PC inclinations where he will not name and refuses to name bad poets.
Yeah.
But I will say that this is quite a good intro to the man. I think that people will look at this interview as the real as well as that first essay you wrote of him, and it also has a bonus essay towards the end. Talk a bit about James's interview. I would put him with Robert Hayden as the two best black poets I've ever read, and top 5 black writers, period. And the thing about that is he is simply he does not distinguish himself as a black poet. Even when he writes on black only topics, they're done in deep fashion.
Well, in his
whole
best
great
poems,
he even some of the lesser stuff, he'll have moments in them, and he also has an ability to go from formal verse to free verse very fluidly.
in his best poems, in his later some of his later writings, he got more of that what's it, Gwendolyn Brooks type bullshit. It is a great interview. James, like I said, was out of touch with a lot of what was going on in America, so he didn't know a lot of that stuff. This one, I remember some of the people on the E-list, or some of the people who on the E-list who were also Wikipedia editors, had tried to add in some of the information, because at this point James had like 2 lines in his Wikipedia page, and these asshole editors, because it was coming from Cosmoetica, were removing it. And I remember even James was pissed about that, because the people who he knew were saying they keep removing his stuff, and it's like, this is firsthand or secondhand. It's me asking James. James is giving it to me. I'm a legitimate source. These, for example, these interviews, and also the interviews that I do on the videos, this is journalism too that I'm doing. So you can say I'm a journalist. Cosmoetica is doing more historical journalism about the arts than any other website going, and yet these idiots would remove that stuff. Some of the stuff, I think, and let me just digress. I think some of the things Pinker had said, some Pete Hamill was another one, and then there was a few other people later on, like Charlie LaDuff's stuff that was removed. Desmond Morris, a lot of stuff about people's date of birth, even just plain facts that they state in these interviews, were removed by these assholes on Wikipedia, just because for some reason there were some people that there was that thing where the Roger Ebert thread, where there was that website, Empire website. There were some assholes there, and also there was this young kid that I called this young kid, I forget his name, who was constantly just vandalizing not only my page but any pages that people were adding basic information from Cosmoetica. So with these interviews, I just remember the bad taste I had with these Wikipedia trolls. Why are you removing stuff about James, this important American literary figure? Some asshole who knows nothing about literature, knows nothing about James, a legitimate source right from the horse's mouth that I'm putting online, direct, correct information is being removed for no reason at all.
So part of that too is that you pissed off Wikipedia, and I've noticed that even in segments where they do use quotations from your interviews or quotations from your essays, they will not credit you. So they don't even want to give linkage to you. They just want to take a little bit of parts and lazily edit it around there. And Wikipedia is one of the great fraud sites out there. It's full of misinformation all through it. You can go week to week in some things and find different things on it and totally edited different segments. If you compare, like if you take any of the presidents from America and look at their Wikipedia pages 5 years ago, and then look at them now, there's whole bits of information that have completely changed, whole paragraphs that have changed. That's because when you have an open system like that, you get a lot of idiots who are putting in superficial, silly information and removing the meat of it.
Yeah, and even stuff on my own Wikipedia page, stuff that's been gleaned from some of these interviews and the City Pages thing and the New York Times thing or whatnot. People just remove it willy nilly, and it's like, do you? There's absolutely no sense of journalistic standards there. Why would you want to have false information when here Cosmoetica is giving you the correct information? And they tried to say that it was me, even though I remember one time I think they tried to remove my I think it was my Wikipedia page. They did it 2 or 3 times, and I remember I think it was Alex or someone had sent me an email, or maybe it was Dylan Wall, that they're trying to remove my page, and there was like a whole thing for these idiot editors, like that were claiming that I was on there 24/7 battling with them in some flame war, and they were supposedly tracking this thing. And at the time, I'm here living here in Texas, and they're saying, "Oh, he just crossed over the state line from Missouri to Nebraska. We're following him through the." And it's like, these people are sick. I mean, number one, even if they could, I mean, that they would think that I was somehow in Iowa traveling across state lines to Nebraska to pretend I was someone else is mind-boggling. But this is the way they work. But I remember, I think it was the James interview. I think some information on Hamill and Pinker had gone unnoticed, but I think it's because James has been 98% promoted by me. 98% of what you'll find online about James Emanuel is directly from Cosmoetica or from stuff derived from Cosmoetica. Without Cosmoetica, James would just have the Negro and maybe 3 or 4 other little things online. That's
That
it.
damn New York Times article on him too had all sorts of misinformation
Yeah.
in it.
And
I
I'm
don't
the
know
one who
why.
had to correct it. That's corrected because of me.